Welcome back to Gentry's Garage. I hope everybody's doing great today. Today I'm going to be working on a car that's really been important to me. This car we got when I was about 10 years old. My mom used to drive it back and forth to work. We bought it, it was a drag car. It was just like a street style drag car. And I think I was like maybe 10 years old when we bought this car. I remember going and getting it and riding home in it. It's been sitting for a long time. I've done quite a bit of work on it to get it to where it's at now. So just get right into it, show you what I got, and tell you a little bit more about it. So here it is. This is a 1966 Plymouth Belvedere 2. I believe it was originally a 318 car, automatic, and somebody put a 383 big block in it when we got it. And it was sitting up on blocks. They were done racing it or moving on to another project, and we were able to pick this car up for really cheap back in the day. I think we bought this car for like 800 bucks. Threw some wheels and tires on it and drove it home. And my mom drove this car for years and years and years, back and forth to work. I remember going down the freeway and her just running off and leaving some little punk kids on the freeway in this car. But it was a really neat car. It was long tube headers, had little bitty short glass packs on it and some dumps. And it was a lot of fun over the years. So we had some hard times back in the day, and it kind of got pushed off to the side like a lot of things do that are projects or toys. And it sat for a really long time. So we've been trying to keep it covered or in storage or something like that through all these years. And after I built my shop a few years ago, we started on it. Put it on a rotisserie and did a full rotisserie blast on it and put it in prime. The car is not horrible, but it does need some pans like all Mopars do. Pans are shot. At the time, you couldn't get the front pans when I ordered the pans for this car. You could only get a full piece. So I got a full pan for it. Just gonna go ahead and pull the pan out, put full pans in it. The car had also been damaged up front. So all this is bent. And my dad straightened it out a lot. You can see where there was some battery. This is where the battery tray used to sit. And there's a little rot here. Straightened it out a lot. So it was a nice little car for a long time for us. And rockers are clean. It does have some rot around the quarters, which I'm probably going to get either lowers or full quarters for it. I haven't decided yet. Some damage right here in the back on this quarter, and some rot right here on this one. And the outer wheel wells have a little bit in them, but not horrible. So, but for now I've got a full pan for it, and I'm gonna change this inner fender well and get rid of this. Also gonna change the front core support, and I'm gonna do some strengthening and everything, and flat part of this firewall over here. When we bought it, this car, you could look almost just like this right through the trunk and see the deck lid. It just had a bench seat in it. Everything had been gutted. Did have a dash in it, door panels, but no other interior. So I'm gonna flat the firewall because it's had several different ACs put in over the years. Clean the firewall up a little bit. Okay, so my goal for this car is for it to be semi-stock appearing. I want it to be pretty low, you know, reasonable. It's gonna be a driver. And do a 440 with a 4-speed. Upgrade the suspension. I've looked at a lot of suspensions. I don't know which way I'm gonna go yet. I like several of them, but I wanna upgrade the suspension. I do have a Sure Grip for it. We're probably gonna put back in for now. I wanna move some springs around in the back to get some tire clearance, you know, and stuff like that. Subframe connectors, and strengthen this car up a little bit. But for now, I'll start, get some of the sheet metal work done on it, and just start moving forward, because it's not gonna get done if I just sit here and look at it. So get something set up here. Maybe we can get a time lapse going or something like that, and you know, get a decent amount of work going on this thing so we can see where we need to go, and you know, that kind of stuff. So I hope you all enjoy. Okay, so just a rough little clip of these panels, and these are all spot welded in. Right, and there's a couple different ways that you can take these out. An air chisel works really well. Now, with that being said, if you're air chiseling on the same thickness as a metal, you could damage the existing metal. So I am going to go in here and just thin these spot welds out a little bit with a drill bit, or maybe even a grinder, before I get down on it with the air chisel. See, this is spot welded from the inside, so this is a thicker piece here, so I can take the air chisel and cut this right off now. The reason I cut out all the metal around it is so the air chisel doesn't get jammed up in there. Sometimes they'll get jammed up in a tight spot and you can't get them out very easily. So I'm going to sweep a little bit and then mark out this firewall and cut this firewall out. I think I'm going to somewhere like that is what I'm thinking, you know. These I can fill if I need to. It don't matter. I'm probably going to get rid of these because I want to run everything hidden for the most part. And I'm going to get rid of the fuse block hole and some of these other. I'm going to leave these divots and stuff, so I want it to semi appear stock, just lightly modified. So that's the goal next, is to cut all that out, and then I'll clean all this up with the air hammer and get all this cut apart. And I may clean this up real fast because that's going to be a slicer there that will slice and dice you. So all right. Okay, so I got all that cut off. Unfortunately, my battery died right in the middle of it on the time lapse, so I lost it. But it cuts right off pretty easy. You got to sharpen your chisel, and then it just slices it right off. Now on these thinner panels, like I said, I pre-drilled it a little bit so it would not distort the panel as bad. But these heavier panel pieces, it doesn't really distort as long as you're being a little careful. So let me grab the piece here. Here's the core support. Slide it in here. There we go. There we go. Now, as long as everything's straight when you start, it's not that big of a deal. So nothing moved when I cut it apart. So we clean all this up, get everything ready, and I'll put all the pieces together and use some Clecos to hold everything together to make sure it all fits right. And then I'll pre-drill holes and spot weld it all back up. So all right, so cut a little piece out for the firewall, welded a couple bead rolls in it. Kind of matches, looks pretty good that way. Dylan's over there cutting filler for this piece. These panel clamps are absolutely awesome. You can get these panel clamps from not Tractor Supply. You can get these panel clamps from Harbor Freight, Amazon, eBay, Eastwood. They're all over the place. But they keep a nice gap in here. They got a little piece that goes on the inside and clamps it really flat. Works well. And you just spot weld and you can move the clamp down and it keeps it really flat. They work really well. And then we got to clean up all of this over here. And then we'll start laying our new panels in after I get the firewall welded in. So I don't have to climb over the front of the car. And yeah, start getting this thing back together up here. And then we'll start on the floor pans. But anyway, it's coming together. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. And here we go. Okay. Got Dylan in here cleaning up. Cleaning up the floor pans. Getting ready to pull the pans out. He's just cleaning. He's pulled the wire concealment or wire protectors off that were in here. And he's getting all those cleaned up. And we'll be cutting the floor pan out soon. Up here in the front, just still working on getting the feathering done on the firewall and cleaning up the rust around here where the spot welds were at. And we'll get some weldable primer on this and get ready to start putting it back together. So we got all the holes pre-drilled, got the weld through primer on it, and I ordered some weld through primer years ago for another project, and it's just leftover weld through primer. It's not my favorite thing to weld through, but it works pretty good. And we're going to fill in some of these holes here probably too, and just get it all welded up. Everything, it fit pretty good, you know. It definitely, you could tell it was a repop. Made a little massage in, like right here in these corners. Sometimes they don't fit the existing corners, so I had to split that corner. But everything else fit pretty good. That corner over there at the top was a little loose, had to tighten it up. This little bracket down here where I got everything clamped, let me show you. This little bracket down here goes to the inside. It was a little bit off, so I just drilled the spot welds out and moved it just a little bit, so I wasn't trying to force everything around, because these frame rails are straight, this car's straight. So I even put the lower radiator support in, and it matches these frame rails perfect. So it was just that bracket was just a little bit off. And over here we got one of the doors we just cleaned, gutted. So it'll be going, man, almost dropped it. So it's pretty clean. The doors are clean. They just rust on the top from sunbake and stuff like that. No rust on the bottom. There's a little bit of cancer in the front edge, but I can fix that. And the rest of everything is pretty much the same. Driver's side fender's been up a little bit. It's right here at the front. The door hit the fender one time when the wind was blowing really heavy. I think we were in like a Brookshire's parking lot. Dad got out and ripped the door out of his hand and bent it around the fender. But yeah, it's coming together pretty good. The floor pans, he's got everything cleaned out and prepped, ready to cut out. And we'll get to that here as soon as I get the front end put together. We were blowing, you see all the sand from sandblasting. He was cleaning out down inside. Just still don't know if we're going to take the quarters off yet, so he's blowing all of it and vacuuming it out. So we'll see what happens there. But start welding on this thing. Okay, I got the car moved around where we can get to all of it real easily because we're going to be putting the whole pan in. So to do this, we're going to start and we're going to cut. I'm going to cut here. This is where the pan comes and overlaps underneath. So I'm going to cut this piece off all the way across around the edges. And then these markings are where the braces are underneath, just a rough marking. And I'm going to cut around the braces all the way across. And then once I get the pan out, I'll come back with the air hammer and a chisel and I'll cut all this off where it's spot welded. Just cut it all off real quick. But back here we'll grind a little bit and drill some holes to clean that up. And then here it should just cut right off. So that's the plan. We're going to start cutting and see how it works out. And if we got to change, then we'll change. And I'm not putting any bracing in it. This car shouldn't move at all. It's on a pretty good stand, located in the frame. If it moves, then I'll address it at that time. Okay, so we got the majority of it out. We've got a couple little pieces we do need to drill because it's hard to get the hammer in up here. And there's some thinner metal in here. And this is pretty thin here. So all these spot welds I'm going to drill out. So I'll drill all these spot welds out. We'll knock out this last piece, clean everything up, and you can see from the factory that they did not paint down inside the frame rails, and that's what causes a lot of this rust. Not to mention just the stuff that comes in from everything leaking when the seals go bad. But so we'll clean all this up and paint all inside here. This car has been in storage for a really long time just to protect it from this. So we want to seal it all up really good. I'm going to paint all of the inside of the rockers really good because you can't get paint up in there once the pans are in. And yeah, hopefully we'll have new pans in this here in a little bit. All right, so we got everything cleaned up and got rust inhibitor. Let the rust inhibitor dry and paint. Now I'm going to go back and just dust the tops of the rails with a weld-through primer. And where it welds in the side here on both sides. And Dylan's over here laying out the frame rails underneath it. And then we'll get our holes pre-drilled. And then we'll throw it in, start clamping it in place and spot welding it up. So it's coming together pretty good. Do have a couple of places where I got a little deep when I cut the old pan out the back here. So I'm gonna get the welder out, weld those up real quick. But it's really starting to come together. So I'm excited about the way it came apart. I'm excited about the lack of rust in this. It really makes me happy that the frame rails aren't rotted. So we'll get these holes drilled and get y'all set up for when we slide this thing in. All right, so we got all the holes drilled, all the holes around the edge, where the seat braces are at, in the front. Everything's cleaned up in the car. So we're gonna try to get this thing over here and slide it in. I'm gonna have a time lapse going, and then I'm gonna see if my buddy will hold the camera while we slide this thing in there. Will you hold this for me? Just somewhere right in there. Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's going to be sharp when we drill these holes, so be careful when we weld it. Okay. I gotta push it back a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Needs to go forward a little bit, but cool. All right, went in pretty good. It still needs to slide forward just a little bit, but it's really nice. So I'll get it tightened up and work the edges in a little bit. Get ready to weld it in. It's all welded in now. You can see the spot welds, how well they turn out. Nice and clean. And up here, I am going to go ahead and probably pretty close to fully weld the seam between the firewall and the floor pan. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to pull that lip off. Like I said, I want it to be semi-stock appearing at least, you know. But I want to pull that lip off because it does get in the way of a few things that I'm going to be doing back there, the way I'm going to run my headers and stuff like that. We're also changing this thing to a 4-speed. Putting a wiggle stick in it. So I got it traced out. So now I'm going to go and draw a line on the inside of my mark. And that's where I'll cut it out. And then I'll weld it in. But it's coming along. I gotta clean up the edges and stuff, but I did have to stretch it in a little bit. It wasn't off very much at all. It fits really nice. It's a really nice piece. So you just have to work it in to fit right. So pulled it over and then worked the edges down where they fit pretty good. But I really like it. So it's a lot better than rust holes, that's for sure. Alright, so it's all done. The 4-speed tunnel is installed. Everything's pretty much welded up. I got a lot of grinding to do. But yeah, pans are in. Front end is almost done. We got to put the lower rad support in. And then I'm gonna have to get up under the car and clean up where I cut that tunnel in just a little bit. It's not horrible, but there are a couple little things I want to cut up or clean up. I mean, firewall's almost done. All right, so I went ahead and ordered a level 2 strengthening kit from AMD. It is the subframe connectors, the front inner fender braces, torque box bracing, and I'm going to make my own pieces to widen the wheel wells. I'm gonna do a little mini tub on it. and I'll make my own pieces because I'm probably not going to cut it exactly the way they want it cut for the pieces that come in their kit. And then I'll order the spring relocate kit separately. It'll save a little bit of money for me for what I'm doing. And then I'll do a spring relocate, and I ordered lower quarters. I did not order the whole quarter. It ended up being, it was going to be $1,200 more to do the whole quarter. And I just don't want to spend that much money. It's not that this car's not important to me, I just don't want to spend that much money. So we'll do the lowers right around here, because it's pretty bad on both sides. The other side's worse. And then when I have it apart, I'm going to fix the outer wheelhouse, and I'll do the layout to where I'm going to cut the inner wheelhouse out to do the mini tub. So it should be pretty good. And yeah, so I guess that'll do it for this time. We got quite a bit done on the car. It's been waiting for a long time. I'm excited to get moving on it. I've already got a 4-speed for it. I've got stock 8 3/4 with a sure grip, and I have the stock front end. And my goal is to do a semi-stock setup on it, and then I'll modify stuff as we move forward with the car. But I want the main part of the body done. And I think I'm rambling here, so anyway, there she is. Front end's done. And I really appreciate everybody watching. I've gotten some really good comments. So if you want to leave comments, more than welcome. I try to read and respond to all of them. And this has been fun. I've really been wanting to get this car done for a long time. So I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Until next time, have a good day.